And most important to you, how do they sound? Well, here's their 34. Now they're 42.
The MG-43 in all its simplicity. The MG-43 has the most diverse design and functions that influence this weapon. Some inspiration can be seen from the PK MG box magazine, how bulky it is. The buttstock inspired by the MG5 H&K. The barrel looks like an FN mag barrel as well, but a lot of people see it as a futuristic German MG-42. That is a common answer I saw when asking my friends what this weapon looks like, who aren't gun nerds by the way. And it seems like HD2 players in general just agree with that as well. The MG-43 seems to be chambered in 8x60mm FMJ rounds. Now the reason why I say FMJ rounds is the amount of kinetic power it would take to penetrate the medium unit of the Automaton steel plate. But that is just my assumption. Now let's get into what I think influenced the MG-43 and take a look at its family tree. Also, I'm not German, I'm American, but I will try to pronounce some of these words or phrases correctly. The MG-08, or what I like to call him UNK, was a heavy machine gun of the Imperial German Army during World War I. The rate of fire depended on the lock assembly used. Schlauss 08 was on average 500 rounds per minute and is 600 rounds per minute for the Schlauss 16. Telescopic sights were developed in large quantities to enable the MG-08 to be used in long-range direct fire. Used 250 round fabric belts of 7.92 by 57mm ammo. It was water-cooled using a jacket around the barrel that held approximately 3.7 liters of water. Use an attachment sight with a range calculator. Operated on the basis of short barrel recoil with a toggle lock. Once cocked and fired, the MG-08 continued to fire until the trigger was released. It was seen in conflicts such as the Mexican Revolution, Balkan Wars, Russian Civil War, German Revolution, Finnish Civil War, Spanish Civil War, and the Korean War. The MG-13 is a German light machine gun introduced into service in 1930, where it served as the standard light machine gun of the German Army. Chambered in 7.92 by 57mm Mauser, which fired from a closed bolt. Used a 70-round saddle drum magazine. An unusual feature of the MG-13 was a double crescent trigger, which allowed a select fire without needing to have a select switch. Sadly though, the MG-13 was quickly phased out by the MG-34. MG-34 is a double crescent trigger, recoil-operated, air-cooled, general-purpose machine gun tested in 1929 and then introduced in 1934, following in 1936 to be introduced to Wehrmacht units, introducing an entirely new concept to automatic firepower by being the world's first general-purpose machine gun. Chambered in 7.92 by 57mm Mauser rifle cartridges and was the most advanced machine gun in the world at the time of its development. Portable, light, and a medium machine gun infantry cover, anti-aircraft cover, and even sniping ability. Being light enough to be carried by one man, high fire rate of 900 rounds per minute was completely unmatched. By 1939, the MG-34 was massively produced. Fired an open bolt, keeping both the barrel open at both ends after firing ceases, allowing airflow through it, which helped it to cool faster, while retaining the next unfired bullet outside the chamber until the trigger is squeezed again. The cartridges were protected from cook-offs from high chamber temperatures. Designed with a rotating bolt with a short recoil aided by a muzzle booster. The recoil causes the barrel and bolt to move backwards at a short distance, unlocking the bolt from the barrel. The barrel returns to its forward position while the bolt recoils to its rear position. In the following years, the MG-42 came along. The weapon was cheaper, simpler to assemble. Along with the MG-34, the MG-42 was used by the Wehrmacht and the SS during the second half World War. Entered production in 1942, it was supposed to replace the more complicated and complex MG-34, but both weapons were produced until the end of World War II. Chambered in 7.92 by 57mm Mauser rounds, the MG-42 proved to be easy to operate. Its famous feature of reaching high rates of fire, which average around 1,200 rounds per minute, outpacing other common machine guns, making it the king of suppressive fire for machine guns. The family tree continued after the fall of Nazi Germany, forming identical machine guns such as the MG-1, MG-3, MG-74. The MG-42 was used as inspiration for many design elements in the American M60. The MG-42 is a 7.92 by 57mm Mauser air-cooled, belt-fed, open-bolt, recoil-operated machine gun with a quick charge barrel. It weighed 11 kilograms and the light machine gun roll with the bipod lighter than the MG-34 and easily portable. The MG-42 also functioned well in other climates. Dust and dirt in North Africa and Italy was less likely to jam the MG-42 than the more temperamental MG-34. The MG-42 is capable only of fully automatic fire. Single shots are difficult even for experienced operators due to the weapon's high cyclic rate of fire and the ability to fire a short burst of no more than 3 rounds as usually accepted as the training standard. After World War II, the gun was still used in conflicts in the future, such as the Arab-Israeli War, Lebanese War, First Congo War, and the Syrian War. There's weapons like the MG and MG5 as well, but to be frank, I have to get into the MG43, so let's get into the nitty-gritty about the standard machine gun. A machine gun has 3 firing modes, 630 RPM, 760 RPM, and 900 RPM. For personal choices, you can choose whatever you feel like is comfortable for you. To me, I like running 900 RPM against Terminids or the Illuminate, and 630 for the Automaton faction. For the Illuminate faction, ever since the faction was introduced, the MG has been the crown prince against this faction. Given how much damage you are able to do to dish out against enemies like the Overseers and Meat Bob, including the ability to have decent crowd elimination, I'd say it's a pretty good weapon. Yes, it does have a stationary reload, but that can be overlooked because this weapon is an overall good counter against them. For this faction, pairing the MG with peak physique allows you to have better handling, which in turn means better tracking against flying Overseers, flicking between Volas and other enemies as well. I highly suggest use peak physique, MG, and supply pack against this faction because mainly you just have a good time flicking between targets, tracking, the annoying enemies out the air, and including that when there's a Stingray randomly about to come towards you, you can easily flick towards him, track him down, and you shoot him down before he kills you. For Meat Bob, you can mow him down in 83 shots, but if you are further away, you will have to include damage drop-off, so it may take a little bit more than 83 shots if you are further away from him. For the Overseer, he does take a couple burst shots for him to die, but I understand if you just want to spray him down just because how the enemy is, and when you are facing the flying Overseer, don't even think about just trying to do burst shots, just spray him down. On top of that, if you're facing the Harvester, you break his shield. If you aim for the inner leg joint like you do for the autocannon, you could take down the Harvester less than 10 seconds for sure. Here are some of the armament sets I do like running with the MG. I like running Peak Physique. The Peak Physique allows me to have improved weapon handling with less drag and weapon movement. On top of Peak Physique, I like running Siege Ready. Heavy Siege Ready allows me to have more survivability. Including that, I have that 20% ammo capacity, so I'm allowed to have one more box magazine. The increased reload speed does not affect your support weapon, it only affects your primary, but the increased box magazine does affect your support weapon. Also, I like running Fortified for that reduced recoil by 30% and that 50% explosive resistance, especially against the Automaton front. Street Scout is also a good choice for the light armor version, for the mobility version, and including that, I like running Engineering Kit for that extra nades and that 30% reduction of recoil. The medium machine gun against the Automaton faction is an okay pick. Not gonna lie, you have better choices like the railgun, AMR, autocannon, recoilless rifle, quasar cannon. Other choices you can use to take down other enemies and especially the heavier enemies, but at least it has a good, okay position where it can take out the medium chaff pretty quickly, including the light chaff as well. It can also take down the tankier units, believe it or not. It can take down the Hawk, especially if you have the ventilator shown towards you. You have to use an Urchin Nade or the Stun Nade to get that ability to do so. And also can take down the tanks, especially if you go behind the tank and you aim for that ventilator. You can pretty much just hard RPM that ventilator and it will blow up. It's an okay strategy to do. I highly recommend not doing that because you are just going to start getting chip damage from the normal bots, from the other bots as well, and you're just going to hard focus on one target where there's many other targets around you when using the MG. Like I said before, the MG is an okay weapon. It's an okay weapon to pick when going against the Automatons. I won't kick you, to be honest. I don't kick people in general when you're using these sort of weapons. But if you're going to use this weapon, just know that there is better choices for you. And overall, it's an okay pick. Like I just said, it's alright. It has its positives. Obviously, there's other better choices to use. But the MG sort of has an okay role against the Automatons. You can just completely murder the medium bots quickly. The heavy devastators, the rocket striders, and the rocket devastators as well. And surprisingly, you can take out the factory strider. If you go under the belly and just mow his belly down, you can take down the factory strider. Yeah, it takes a while. You probably will die in the process of doing it if you do not priest them like I just did. But other than that, it's an okay weapon against them. Overall, I give it like a solid like mid B tier, because it just, at least it carries you for the medium enemies. Hello. Hope you guys have been enjoying these sort of videos where I talk about the weapons I like using and connecting historical to modern day influences from their aesthetic design and functionality, because there is a lot of historical to modern day ties that are influences for these gun designs that are seen in these weapons. I'm enjoying making these sort of videos too as well, and it's like a nice change of pace for the channel and for the HD2 content recently. So yeah, I just hope you guys are enjoying this video so far. Leave a like and a comment on which is your favorite faction to use any of the MGs. Personally, for me, my favorite faction to use the MGs is the Terminids and maybe the Automatons. Sometimes the Illuminate as well, but just depends on which flying overseer is it going to mid-TTK me or spam me. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the rest of the video. Peace. When it comes to the Terminid faction, I think the MG is a pretty solid pick all around. It does have that stationary reload. You do have to remember, just like the flaws of the Illuminate faction, you do have that stationary reload, but it does have the ability to dish out a lot of damage between the soft enemies and enemies like the Alpha Commander and Hive Guard as well. It's a pretty solid pick all around against the Terminids. I'd say it's like on top of A tier really, just because that stationary reload can be a hindrance when you have like 5 hunters coming after you, or like 5 predator stalkers coming after you, and you have a bunch of like the chargers, the behemoths, and the pouncers as well. There's just a lot of things that come after you when you want to reload your MG, which is sort of the downside with this weapon really, just like the autocannon. But at least the MG has a lot of ability to chaff clear, and you have a lot of ammo, especially if you are really conservative with your ammo. But overall, I say the weapon is like a solid A tier when it comes to this faction, and I'll get into the other heavy enemies and how you can actually destroy them with the MG. And also, yes, you can just use gas nades or stun nades to stop the enemies from coming towards you, or gas dog as well. But sometimes the charger doesn't know when to stop charging. Just saying. Anyways, let's get into how you can kill these guys with the MG. When it comes to the MG on thorax tech, what you want to do is have gas nades, urchin nades, gas dog, or stun nades, or have an MG sentry bait the behemoths or chargers towards the MG sentry, or you can have a teammate and use him as bait as well. That's kind of fucked up, but hey, you get the kill, right? And then you just mag dump against that thorax. Once you mag dump against the thorax will pop and he will bleed out, meaning his HP is slowly getting drained. And while his HP is slowly getting drained, you can also focus on the lighter enemies such as the warriors, the alpha commanders, the hive guards around him. And once you finish them off, you can finish him off as well and pop his thorax. Once his thorax is popped, you can continuously mag dump against his thorax, and it'll just go towards his main HP pool, and you can kill him pretty fast with the MG. I understand if you use thermites, recoilless rifle, EAT, commando, quasar, or the automaton, it will destroy him faster than using the MG tech. But if you do not have those options and you do just want to have a different way of playing the game and you want to involve yourself with the MG tech, here you go. Here's how you do it. Look, see, perfect urchin nade towards his midsection, aiming towards his thorax. Once his thorax is popped, I do not stop shooting. I continuously shoot until he's dead. That is how you use the MG tech against the thorax for the MG against the behemoth. When it comes to the MG versus Bile Titan tech, it can be a little tricky because how the Bile Titan moves. He moves a little bit awkward even when he is urchin stunned. He goes around trying to stomp on you, including that you have to deal with the chaff members that are around him as well. They probably are going to kill you more often than the Bile Titan himself because you are going to be under him. You can't juke him out. You can't throw urchin nades. But when you're throwing urchin nades, you have to keep in mind you are just moving him around, which sometimes make it harder for you to use the MG tech against his underbelly, but it still works, and it takes some practice to do. It takes some learning, right? It's a little learning curve. You can do it, but it's like a, well, what's the word? There's no skill involved into it. It just takes a learning curve. I think that's the best way to describe it. It's a little bit of learning curve. You do have to clear the chaff members out the way so they just won't focus on you, especially if it's nursing spirits, because they can just one spear you. But once they're done out the way, throw an urchinate at him, or if you don't want to throw an urchinate at him, just get right under him and just start mag dumping his stomach. Once you mag dump his stomach, you can mag dump his back end of this stomach, which go towards his main HP pool, and once it hits towards his main HP pool, you're just doing a massive amount of damage towards him. Sometimes there will be angle deflection and ricochet shots, because how he's moving, he'll move his legs between each shot you're taking, which means a lot of your shots are just going to get ricocheted off of him. But if you have decent aim, you can use the MG tech against the Battle Titan. It does work, but it just takes a good amount of time. And also including that, yes, like I said before about the Behemoth, it's not the best strategy, but it is a strategy when it comes to the MG. You can't just use the Ultimatum, you can't just use your Thermites, or EAT, Commando, or Quasar, or Recoilless Rifle. But when it comes to the MG and Battle Titan tech, there is some sort of tricks you have to do, and there is a learning curve to it. For the Impaler and for the War Strider, I did not get any footage of them while I was recording for this video. But for the Impaler, when he puts his tentacles down into the ground and they come up, shoot his ugly face and just mag dump into him, he will die eventually. And for the War Strider, don't even bother using your MG, just use an Ultimatum, Thermite, EAT, Commando, or just rely on your friend or your teammate to shoot him in a crotch. That enemy is a hard counter towards the MG, like some of the other enemies towards the Automaton faction. And overall, the MG, as I said, I like the weapon. I like the weapon against the Terminids and against the Illuminate. Against the Automatons, I don't really bring it that often for a certain amount of reasons. But while recording for this, it was actually pretty fun just mowing down the medium chaff and using my knowledge to go for the weak points of the heavier enemies. And also, it's really fun just mowing down a lot of the Rocket Striders and medium chaff before they became a problem for me. I think that's the strong suit for the medium G against this faction. But like I said, there is plenty other of weapons to use that are heavy penetrating, and your primaries as well, than using the medium MG for this faction. It was just really fun recording the MG for this video overall. I like the weapon. It's like a solid all-around B tier weapon. It's your standard machine gun, and you can really go, you really can't go wrong with the standard machine gun. Anyways, I hope you guys have a good day. Hope you guys enjoy this video. I'm out. Peace.